Welcome to the Now Morning Show where Raucous plays himself. We are talking pets though, not necessarily hard-working ones, but certainly ones that you can adopt. This morning, returning to this set is Ms. Sara Maynard, the Operations Manager at the TTSPCA. Good morning and welcome back.
Good morning. Thanks for having me again. Thanks for the Now team for highlighting the TTSPCA.
Always. The trick is you have to bring a pet when you're coming.
Apologies
we
for
talked
that.
about this.
Serious apologies for that, yeah.
As far as I understand, you have quite a few, so much so that we are heading into an adoption drive.
That's correct. We actually have 117 dogs and puppies at the shelter at the moment and 40 plus cats. So we are trying to promote the adoption of animals that we have at the shelter, which is why we're hosting an adoption drive on the 18th of March.
Okay, sounds good. Tell me the process though, because when we think of adoption, is it in exact opposition to shopping, purchasing, adopt, don't shop?
Well, yeah, it is. It's many of the dogs that we have were given up, rescued, abandoned dogs. They were found. Some have been born at the shelter because we have noticed a trend of abandoning pregnant dogs and also nursing mums as well. That's a recent trend, along with breed dogs. All of a sudden, we've got a huge influx of those animals as well. So we do have a whole mix of different types of dogs, from small to large, but mainly mixed breeds dogs and
Caribbean Shepherds.
I like a Trinity Pot Town. I like the word Pot Town. Yeah, I mean, everybody has their thing. I mean, I think in Bahamas it's pot cakes.
Really?
So, yeah, so they have different names across the Caribbean. So adoption, you would come in, have a look at the animals that we have for adoption and select one. We would then ask you to show proof of fencing, etc., make sure the environment is safe for the animal. Because there's no sense giving you an animal that can potentially run away and start the process again.
Absolutely.
And once you qualify, you would pay a small adoption fee. And for the adoption drive, we reduce that because we have sponsorship. So pet professionals, they're the distributors of 3 dogs, 3 cats. They're sponsoring the event, which is great, yeah. It reduces our costs. And yeah, you pay this small adoption fee and you take home your animal. Yeah.
Now, this is for that particular day.
Yes, it is for that particular day, but we probably will extend it for that week, giving people a chance to come in, because we know it's difficult for people sometimes. They're busy on a Saturday, so we extend it. We generally, but we like people to come in on the adoption drive because we'll have giveaways and some fun things going on. Yeah.
Now, in terms of first off, to go back to the Caribbean Shepherd, when I was looking for dogs, my vet was explaining to me that actually those are usually more resilient dogs.
They tend, well, most sort of mixed breed tend to be. It's like people.
Oh, wow.
If you're, it's like if you're very into bread, there's health issues.
We will think about this differently. We will. But I say this because in terms of adoption or getting a breed, a lot of the times people are more concerned with the aesthetics of the dog rather than temperament or even lifespans. And so we might be looking at some dogs that are very, very easy to care for.
Very easy to care for in this climate and the environment, and we don't tend to, if you say, oh, I want this fluffy dog, and we talk to you and say, well, your lifestyle really doesn't suit this kind of animal, have you considered maybe a smooth coated dog because you're busy all the time? Take 2 dogs because you're not at home a lot, and so they'll keep each other company.
Oof, yes, but, look at you thinking it through.
But yeah,
where were you on
Pot Towns are resilient. They're accustomed to our climate. You have some breeds that require living in an air condition. The short-nosed dogs, furry dogs, some of them can't cope with the climate that we have here. And really shouldn't be brought into this country.
So we have a nice crop to choose from. And where the cats are concerned, one of the things that you brought up the last time you were here was the spaying and neutering of both your dogs and your cat. Specifically, when you talk about getting a lot of pregnant or nursing dogs, that's also concerning. So is this a service that we can look to the TTSPCA for?
It is. We do have a low-cost clinic. There are certain criteria, weight, etc. Again, we try and concentrate on mixed breed dogs to get those done. It is a heavily subsidized clinic, so people can get very affordable space. And we encourage you, especially if you have cats that breed 3 times a year, with an average of 5 kittens per litter. Dogs in this climate breed twice a year. You could end up with a very large household of animals.
I mean, I'm 14 dogs right now, so thanks for this information.
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah. And they come into heat as soon as they finish nursing. Not long after, they'll come into heat again.
This is what I'm learning. Listen, we will have conversations after, because, girl. But that means that you are equipping persons not just with, of course, the company and companionship of the dog or cat, but the information and possibly controls for them as well.
Oh, yes. But the animals that you will adopt from TTSPCA, they're all spayed already. They're vaccinated, fully vaccinated. They've had health checks. So that the cost of adoption is actually, it doesn't cover the cost of the actual, what we have done for the animal. It's a small percentage.
Just to give ideas, what would be the cost the average cost to spay or neuter a cat?
At our shelter, it ranges between $350 to $475. Normally, at a vet clinic, it can range from $600 to as much as $2,000.
Right.
Depending on
the dog and the size and all
what you're doing, the vet service. Some vets have different techniques of spay, so it all depends. But yeah, $2,000 is a lot.
Right. And okay, before we get to that point, we would want to give them all their shots. What are the average costs of those?
Your average shots, I think they range, if you go to a vet, would be about $250, depending. I think cat vaccines are more now because the price has gone up. Things have gone up significantly for animals.
With everything.
Yeah, I think
But in this case, on the 18th, we can enjoy some significantly discounted rates.
Yes, and pet professionals will be sending home your adopted animal with a bag of chow to start you off with.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah.
So you really just need to go down there, fall in love, and start your journey.
I think so, and give an animal a second chance because, you know, they deserve it. They've had some of them have had a rough start, and I think that by doing that, you're helping not just the animal, but you're also helping your family because you're just bringing a little bit of joy into your family as well.
I can totally attest to that. I also know that statistically they speak of children growing with animals tend to be more responsible and generally are socialized far better. So it might be a good idea.
And they also understand grief at some point, unfortunately, but they do. And I did not grow up with animals. I have asthma and other things. Whereas my daughter grew up with a lot of animals because we used to foster all the time, and she has none of the above. And they say that if you tend to grow up with animals, certain things you don't get.
See, Mom and Dad, you should have got me a dog.
But you get a child that has a lot of empathy as well, which I think is important.
Absolutely. In the world today, they can use so much of it. And you can show some empathy by heading over to the TTSPCA as they host Adopt a Pet on the 18th of March.
18th of March.
Hopefully extended, but before they confirm that, you get yourself down there and fall in love with an animal, giving them a second chance at life. And now, of course, beyond these days of adoption and these campaigns, do we have any other events we can look forward to from the TTSPCA this month?
Well, we're doing some fundraising events because we have to. It's quite a lot to run a shelter. Everybody always says, oh, you know, when we retire, we want to open a sanctuary. And I'm like, you need to know the costs. It is expensive. But yeah, we're going to be holding a garage sale in the end of probably the 29th of April.
Okay.
So hopefully we can get some people attending that and donating towards that. If you have things that you don't use, send it in our way so we can help
What type of items might we be looking at?
Household items, mainly household items, anything like that maybe you've decided to buy an air fryer and it just doesn't work for you, or a tap or a glassware or something, and you've gotten fed up of it. We'll take it.
All right.
Yeah, you can drop it off.
And I always ask, because I always think of it, if you guys wanted more support in terms of more volunteers, more fosters, who can we contact? How do we do that?
You can email us at volunteer@TTSPCA.org.
All right, and that's where we can both volunteer in terms of fostering or even working at the shelter, donating all of that?
Yeah, you can contact our volunteer coordinator, Giselle, at, again, volunteer@TTSPCA.org. Yeah, and she can forward you to the right numbers as well.
Sounds good. Yeah. And in that case, you all will probably see me on the 18th, even though I have
I think your hands are full.
I think your hands are full. A lot. But I think it's a beautiful event generally. You can never get too many cuddles.
Listen, even if you just want to come in and sit with an animal and just sort of lime for the day, we're happy to have you because socialization is very important. So,
beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll be there. My dogs will be mad at me afterwards because I'll be smelling like other dogs. But you guys head on over to the TTSPCA on the 18th of March as we ask you to adopt a pet. Guys, we take a break. Come back with more here on the Now Morning Show. Stick around.
Get back, Fluffy, mash Fluffy, get back, you flea infested mongrel. Who let the